Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Farzad with Visme. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great day. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to be here. Before we begin, if you guys can see my screen, which is the Visme homepage, and if you guys can hear my voice well, would you please click on raise hand at the bottom of your screen, please? Great. I see a lot of hands up, so I assume we're ready to move on. Just one quick notes, guys. We've had some issues with Zoom, the webinar software we're using. So in case my screen got frozen or went black or any sort of issues, feel free to let me know in the chat box, and I'll be more than happy to restart the screen sharing process. My apologies if in advance in case some sort of stuff happens with Zoom. Alrighty, so today I'm going to go through the basics of Visme and teach you how you guys can get started with the platform and create awesome looking content within just a matter of a few minutes and save yourself and your team a ton of time. The demo section of the webinar takes about 30 to 40 minutes, and we're going to have a quick Q&A session towards the end. So as we go along, if you guys have any sort of questions, feel free to shoot me a message in the chat, in the Q&A box and not the chat box, and I'll address them one by one right after the demo section. Webinar is also being recorded. You guys are going to receive a link to the recorded video tomorrow so you can review it or share it with your colleagues. All right, so sit back, relax, and let's go ahead and get started. Just to give you guys a quick intro, as you all know, Visme is an all-in-one visual content creation tool that lets you create captivating, interactive visuals without having to have any particular design background. I myself am not a designer, so I'll definitely be a very good example throughout this webinar. We have over 2.5 million users from over 100 countries all over the world, from individual users and educators all the way up to nonprofit organizations and Fortune 500 companies, such as folks from IBM, Sony, NASA, Workday, TD Bank, etc. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right into the platform. So as you log into Visme, we'll take you right to an area which we call the dashboard. And this is where you'll be seeing a quick preview of your previous projects. Also, you can go ahead and create different folders and subfolders in here, right? So you can just go ahead and the little three dots on the right side, and you can, you can create subfolders. You can rename it, share it, make it as default folder, change it or color code it, etc. So these folders are very handy when it comes to organizing, organizing your projects and your content in your Visme account. Also, we try to keep the platform very simple and straightforward. So to create a new piece of content, you literally have to go ahead and click on create, and it will take you right to this area, which you'll be able to pick the content type that you're trying to create. So presentations and infographics are by far our most popular content types, though as I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, we're an all-in-one tool. So not only you guys can create presentations and infographics, but under documents, we have banners, posters, flyers, newsletters. Under printables, we have reports, proposals, menus, resumes, flyers, trifold brochures. Under web graphics, we've got wallpapers, blog graphics, different graphics for social media. Also, basically the size changes based on, so for instance, for Twitter, for Facebook, all that stuff, we've got customized templates. And in case you guys couldn't find any of the contents, like let's say if you're trying to design a billboard or some sort of other sort of content that we don't have a template for, you can always go ahead and click on customize, put in the dimensions here in different metrics, and you can go ahead and start creating stuff from scratch from a blank canvas. All right, so for the purpose of this webinar, I'm going to start with infographics and then touch on presentations towards the end. Though the good thing about Visme is that the process of creating content is the same across all these content types. So as you know how to design an infographic, you can design the rest of these contents very easily because the Visme editor is the same across all these. So as far as infographics go, it's a quick intro. I'm sure you guys have seen these all around the web. They're a very trendy way of presenting information. They're tall form graphics that you can, visualize any sort of steps, processes, or basically just some sort of, educational material. Infographics could be embedded on your website. It could be shared on social. You could post it on like Pinterest, all that stuff. So it's a very, very trendy way to present and visualize your information. So we have hundreds and hundreds of these templates that it's almost impossible to go through all of these. So we actually made it searchable by keywords. So in case you could, let's say if I would like to create an infographic about traveling, you just go ahead and look up that keyword travel, and it will take me right to the templates that that are relevant to traveling, right? So I can just go ahead and see, let's say like Liberty Travel. So I can just go ahead and click on preview and see the template, take a quick look. And if I like it, I can just go ahead and click on edit. Though at this step, don't be too picky because you guys get to personalize and customize every single aspect of this. So just bear with me for a few minutes. As far as you like the touch and feel of the template, you can always go ahead and go with it. All right, I'll also like to welcome our founder, Paymon, also joining and answering questions in the background. So welcome, Paymon. Feel free to go ahead and put your mic on mute, actually, because we can hear some voice in the background. And also, in case you guys have any sort of questions, feel free to go ahead and put it in the Q&A box. He'll be more than happy to kind of answer them in text format. So thank you, Paymon, for helping me out here. All right, so as far as infographics go in Visme, every single infographic is made out of what we call different blocks or different portions. So these blocks, you can resize them, you can move them up or down. So basically think of these as different portions of the infographics that are stuck on top of each other. And you can definitely go ahead and customize different parts of it without having to mess up the entire template. But one thing I want to point out here is that you can actually add on to this. So the way you can do so is very simple. You can just click on any block, and then in the little menu that appears, you can just go ahead and click on that plus sign, add block. You can either add a blank block and then tap the library of assets that we have in the left panel and create stuff from scratch, or you can go ahead and tap into the library of block templates we've got. So if you click on add from template, it will take you to a library where you'll be able to actually see the categories of the blocks we've got. So let's say if that template that I've chosen doesn't have a whole lot of like stats and figures, and I want to visualize some numbers, I could just go ahead and click on stats and figures and just pick one of these templates. So do you see there's a bunch of ready to use templates? So I could just go ahead and click on one, and it will automatically pop it right inside my content. So basically all you can see here is that these are what we call data widgets. I'm going to get to that in a few seconds, but these are pretty cool. So let me show you here in a second. You can actually double click on these and change the value in the design changes accordingly. So in Visme, you actually don't need to design quote unquote things. You can just drag, drop, personalize, and it's good to go. So as far as personalization goes and customizability, there's nothing Visme that is set in stone, as I mentioned. So you can change every color, every text, make stuff, move things around. So let's say if I would like to change the color of this icon, I could just go ahead and click on that icon, and this personalization bar appears up here. And what I can do is just to go ahead and click on that color palette, and I can either use my brand colors, and these are what you can basically add on your My Brand area. I'm going to teach you how you can do that here in a few seconds. But basically, you can just go ahead and click on that little plus sign and change it maybe to another color that you like, and then or just punch in the color code and click OK, and that's all you have to do, right? So this is how you can change the color of your object. As far as text goes, it's pretty self-explanatory. We have a library of over 100 Google fonts, so you can choose from. Yes, you can upload your own fonts. I'm going to teach you how. That's also in the My Brand area. And also, one quick little tip here is that if you actually click on more, in this space, you actually get a lot more settings for your text. So let's say if I would like to increase the letter spacing, so it kind of spreads it out a little bit, I can do that. I can just put a fill color in here, right? Or I can have a border around my text box. I can transform it into lowercase or uppercase. So pretty handy settings here. So click on more. There's a bunch of cool stuff hidden there. In terms of changing icon, all you have to do is just to click on them. You can just go ahead and click on replace icon. It will take you right to the icons and shapes library you've got, and then you can just look for like a keyword, let's say a car icon, and I can replace it with another icon, and then I could just go ahead and automatically easily just change the color, and it's good to go. That's and you can move things around, right, and you can resize it. So as I said, there's endless possibilities of customizability here. So that's as far as personalization goes. Now let's focus on interactivity. So this is one of the unique features of Visme actually compared to some of the content creation tools out there, is that you can make things move around, you can animate things, you can create pop-ups and rollovers. Let's go ahead and take a look at an example. So we've got this blog post called Visme 2017 Year in Review. I just want to, just as an example, we created this infographic and embedded it on our website. I want to teach you how. But what I'm trying to say here is that, as you saw at the beginning, this, this title or this header is actually animated. If I scroll down, you see if I actually hover my mouse over this objects, this text appears. This is what we call a pop-up or a rollover effect. Also, there are some buttons down here. So, as I hover over it, I can just click and it will take me to another landing page. So these buttons, just a side note, they're just text boxes with a fill color. So you guys already know how to create those. It's just a matter of linking it to another landing page that I'm going to teach you. Also, you can embed videos in here. You see our good-looking founder, Paymon, actually teaching how to create or make information beautiful. That's the initiative we took. There's a bunch of other cool videos up there on our YouTube channel, by the way, if you guys haven't checked it out yet. Definitely go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've put out a lot of educational material up there. Also, but not the point here. Also, we've got interactive charts. As you hover your mouse over it, you can see the data for that particular chart. And that's about it, right? So let's go ahead and try to see how we can recreate some of those in Visme. So going back to the editor, first off, if you want to animate any object, right? So let me teach you a little trick before we do that, actually. So if I want to animate just this object, I could just go ahead and click on it and click on animate. But if I want to animate a bunch of objects at the same time, I can just go ahead and hold down the command button and just click on multiple objects. If you guys are a Windows user, that would be the control button for you. So just click, hold down the control button or command button if you're a Mac user, and just select multiple objects. Super easy. And then you can just go ahead and click on animate, pick an animation effect, right? So this is my personal favorite, pop out. And then you can put a delay on it also. So after 1 second, pop out, apply, done. That's how you can animate objects. Though one more thing I want to point out here is also, and I'm sorry guys if I'm going a little too fast, feel free to go ahead and tell me in the chat box if I'm going too fast. But the good thing is that I'm going to send you guys the recorded version tomorrow, so you guys can review it and go back to it for reference. All right, so in terms of the pop-up effect that you guys saw, those little boxes as I hover my mouse over it, like that text pops up. So let's try to go ahead and recreate some of that in Visme in our project. So I can just go ahead and bring in a Visme logo, just as an example, right? So I have 2 objects. And what I want to do is, as people hover their mouse over this, I want this text to pop up. Right, so as people hover their mouse over Visme logo, I want this text to pop up. So the way you can do so is very simple. Again, you can recreate that for any 2 objects. It doesn't have to be a text box or an image, right? So you can do that for any 2 objects. What you can do is to click on that main object you want to keep, and then go ahead and click on link at the top right. So this link option is actually super, super useful. A lot of our users don't know how to use it because it's tiny and it's kind of hidden up there. So definitely go ahead and take advantage from it. So kind of introduce it before we get to pop-up, which is what we're going to have to do here for this example. When you click on link, when under web, this is where you'll be able to link any object to another website, social media, or email address. So if I would like to link it to another website, like if I want to link it to Visme's website, I could just go ahead and type in the URL and then make it open in a new window or same window and then click apply, right? This is how you can link stuff to another landing page. Block. If I link it to like the block number 2, so if I click on it, it will just automatically scroll up to block number 2, right? Or the second block from the top. This is specific. This is especially very useful for presentations because you can link stuff across slides. So you can actually, have an object. When you click on it, it will just automatically go to another slide. So that's definitely very useful there. But you can do that for infographics. And pop-up, which is for the purpose of this example, what I'm going to focus on, and it's basically telling you what it needs, right? So it says convert layer to pop-up, and I only have one more object here, and its name is header copy. I'm going to teach you how you can know what the name of objects are in Visme. But basically, since we already got one more object here, it's called header copy, and it's asking show on click or show on hover. and I want it to show on hover, right? And click apply. That's all you have to do for create pop-ups rollover effects. Now, one last thing before, as I promised, I'm going to teach you how you can know what the name of an object is. So all I have to do is just to click on that little menu button up here, and then click on show objects list. And then as I double click on any object, it shows me its name. And I can double click on that and change the name if I need to, but you don't have to, right? So then the name of this is header copy, like the name of this, I guess is like happy copy, right? Yeah, so that's how you can know the name of object if you need them. Alrighty, so let's go and take a look at the preview and see how our masterpiece looks like so far. So there are just a couple of quick things I want you guys to pay attention to. First things off, you see after 1 second, this header kind of pops up. That's the animation effect as defined. As I scroll down though, I want you guys to pay attention to this quick little effect that we have added to all of our infographics. It's called the parallax effect. And that kind of gives it a nice looking flow as I scroll down. See, also these data widgets are automatically animated. So as I scroll down, you see that things kind of appear in the screen instead of like just a normal scroll. So that's pretty engaging. Also, you guys see that we don't see that little text box here, but as I hover my mouse over it, this text pops up, right? So this is how you can create any sort of hover effects as well. All right, perfect. So that's as far as personalization and interactivity goes. Now, next step up is our library of assets. So let me go ahead and add a blank block down here so I can kind of show you guys a couple quick examples. So this left panel, this is all the different assets, visual assets that we offer at Visme. So starting from the top, we've got, oopsie, sorry, just give me 1 second. Starting at the top, we got basics. And here in the basics, these are basically just combinations of text, icons, images that would look good when they're put together. So let's say if I would like to add a text box right here, I can just go ahead and add a normal text box. By the way, a couple of people are asking, can you go on to the presentation as well? Absolutely. After infographics, we're definitely going to go through presentations. But going back to basics, I can just go ahead and add a normal text box here, right? And this is be like webinar 101, right? But what I can do is also tap into the library of pre-made text boxes that are beautifully put together, and I can just go ahead and personalize those instead, right? So I can just go ahead and do webinar 101, and basically just try to go ahead and change the colors, change the text, and resize and use as needed. So these blocks are specifically useful if you guys are trying to create a good looking graphic and don't have a whole lot of time trying to put this stuff together. One quick other thing is that once you create a block, and it could be any sort of combinations of objects, you can go ahead and scroll or basically drag or just use your command button and select them, and you can go ahead and click on save to my blocks. And what that does is that under basics, whenever you guys are trying to create any sort of other graphics, right? It could be another presentation, it could be another infographic, you have that block ready to go. So you can reuse those designs later on. So I could just drag and drop it in my content anytime I need to. And I could just go ahead and click on group and move it around a little more and basically change things around, change the value of this. So it's very easy to work with if you guys want to, save some blocks to use later on for other content. All right, so that's as far as basics go. Graphics. This is one of the most used parts of Visme, so pay close attention here. So under Photos tab, we've got a library of over 500,000 free stock photos. They're all high quality images, and wait for it, it's copyright free and royalty free. If you guys are on any of our Visme paid plans, you can use it for commercial purposes as well. So super duper useful. So let's say, and they're also searchable with keywords. So if I would like a picture of a building, I could just go and look up that keyword, and then it just gives me a bunch of pictures of buildings, and drag and drop it in my content. I can either set it as the background or set it as, or just bring it into the canvas as a normal image. And if you bring it in to the canvas as a normal image, you can frame it, you can crop it, you can filter it. So there's a ton of stuff, and there's a ton of settings you guys can tweak around. You can also go ahead and upload images from your own computer. And under icons and shapes, we also have, as I kind of tapped into this a couple of seconds ago, we have thousands of vector icons, and they're super customizable. So let's say if I would like a cloud icon, right? icon of a cloud. Could just go ahead and drag and drop this into my content. As I mentioned, a vector icon, so no matter how big or tiny they are, the quality doesn't change. And then I could just go ahead and customize it. So I can just, turn the blue into black or turn the black into, pink, right? So you could just go ahead and play around with it. It's pretty awesome. So that's as far as graphics go. Now here's my favorite part, data visualization. So the best way you guys can convince your audience of the points you're trying to make is actually put out the statistics and the numbers to back your claims up. And the problem here, though, is that a lot of the time statistics and numbers are boring. Let's be honest here. They're not the best or most visually appealing way of presenting information. So that's why in Visme, you guys have the tools to visualize your numbers into cool looking graphics to actually capture your audience attention. So what that means, so let's go through and kind of introduce each one. So the first one is charts, or what we call the graph engine. And the graph engine is basically, you can just go ahead here and punch in your normal data. So let's say if I have some data here, I can just go ahead and copy and paste it. And we have 16 different chart types, 2D and 3D, super interactive. So as you hover your mouse over, you can see the data. Also under import data, you guys can connect your charts to a Google spreadsheet for live data. And what that means is that anytime that data changes in Google spreadsheet, that will automatically update your charts in Visme. Isn't that awesome? You can also definitely go ahead and upload an Excel file, or basically upload a CSV file and basically bring your data up here. The one quick thing is that don't bring in too much data into this, because it's just a simple chart, right? So after like 30 rows or 30 columns, it's just going to be too cluttered and slow. Basically, it's not going to be the most visually appealing thing. So make sure you trim your data down to the stuff the points you're trying to make, and basically then try to visualize it. Under settings, you get the full control over the settings of your chart, and you can click insert. It will pop it right insert content. You can resize and use as needed. All right, so that's as far as charts go. Now let's get into flowcharts. So this is actually a relatively new feature. It's actually also super simple to use. What you could do is just to bring in one of these little boxes or one of these little objects. And these are basically what you can actually click on that little arrow sign and then bring in what we call like a fork. And then you can, and these are smart, so it will follow you around. So you can change the shape of that to like a rectangle, change the fill color, and you can create any sort of mind maps, org charts, any sort of flow chart, super easily. And you can actually go ahead and drag over it and save it to your blocks to use later on. All right, so that's as far as flowcharts go. You can definitely go ahead and create tables in Visme. These are simple tables. You can just go ahead and change the theme into something else if you like to, and they're just normal, simple tables. And here's actually a super awesome feature we got. It's called Map Engine, and this is where you'll be able to visualize your geographic data. So let's say if I have some sort of data in terms of like number of accidents per country or number of customers per state, right? So you can either start globally, or you can look for a particular country, let's say like the United States, and then I could just go ahead and click on edit this map. And then I could just go ahead and easily copy and paste my data under area, right? So this is just a normal just sample data here we have for you, but you can definitely go ahead and put in your data. And you can also just go ahead and kind of hide some of the states. Like if I want to hide California, sorry Terry, I can definitely do that. And then I can go under map settings, turn on area value map, and then pick a shade for it. So from like purple, light purple to dark blue, and then I can just show the legend. So easily, Visme would actually pull the data from the data you pasted here, and it will shade the map according to that data. So the darker it gets, the higher the number. And also, it's fully interactive. So as you hover your mouse over it, you can see the data for different states, and you can click insert. It will pop right inside your content. So that's as far as maps go. We've got also 34 different data widgets. They're all super easy to work with. So all we have to do is just drag, drop, double click, and change the value. So that's something I'm going to leave up to you guys to play around with. Next up is media. So In Visme, as I mentioned, you can insert any sort of video, audio. So the way you can do so is very simple. You can just click on video, punch in your YouTube or Vimeo link, and then you get the full control over the settings of your video. So if you want it to be looped, if you want it to start at a particular time, you could definitely do that very easily. And you see the upload button here. That's something that is only available to our enterprise users. And just the side note, if you guys are interested in a Visme enterprise plan or a Visme team plan for your organization, feel free to contact me, actually, farzad@visme.co. I'll put my email in the chat box, and I'll be more than happy to actually set up a one-on-one demo with you guys. All right, but as far as the video goes, you could just go ahead and click done. It will pop it right into your content, so you can actually watch that video later on. It's going to take a few seconds to load. All right. So that's as far as video goes. This is adding audio. So in case you guys want to have some sort of background audio, you can definitely go ahead and click on, we have a free library of stock audio. So you can just set it as a background music by clicking that little gear button. You can upload audio files from your computer, or you can record your own voice. So all you have to do is just to click on that little red button, it starts recording, and it will just put it right in here. And then I could just go ahead and set it as a background music right here. And last but not least is embedding online content. So this is where you'll be able to add in, let's say if you guys create a survey in SurveyMonkey, or create a quiz, or some sort of interactive content in a third-party application, you can go ahead and get the HTML code from those guys and just copy and paste it here, and it will pop it right inside your Visme account or in your Visme content as an interactive widget, so people can interact with it, right? They can take the survey, they can take the quiz, super easy. So that's as far as media goes. So now there are just a couple more quick things before I dig into some of the other stuff. One of them is theme colors, right? So if I just take a look at the content I created here, the icon up here is red. The rest of the content is like orangish. I brought in this little block that is blue, so it's not very consistent, right? So it doesn't look very good. So what I can do is to go under theme colors, and I can just go ahead and click on any of these Visme theme colors that it would automatically change the entire color scheme of my presentation or infographic or any other content by just click of a button. So it's super easy to do. But more importantly is that you can actually go under your brand area and add your own brand guidelines or brand colors, and Visme will automatically shape the entire content according to your brand colors. So I'm going to teach you how you can add your own. And last but not least is my files area. Think of this as a shared Dropbox or as a shared storage unit that you can keep all of your visual assets, like all of your stock photos, your company logos, and you can create folders, and it's shared across your team. So if you guys are in a Visme team plan, everybody has access to this My Files area. All right, so we've created this masterpiece. It looks great. Now, how I would put it in front of my audience. How can I export this out of Visme? So there are two main ways you guys can do it. The most traditional way of doing things, obviously, is downloading. So you can go ahead and click on download. And we have various of content or various of download types. You can download as a high quality JPEG or PNG. You can download it as a PDF file. You can download it as a PowerPoint even, but we do not recommend it because your content will not be editable in PowerPoint. It just opens it up in PowerPoint. But the way we do recommend it, if you guys want to use it for offline purposes, so in case you don't have internet access, you can definitely go ahead and click on HTML5. And this is actually a unique feature of Visme. And HTML5 download format would actually preserve all of your interactivity, so all of your pop-ups, rollovers, all of your, animations. And more importantly is that it doesn't need any third-party software to open. So you guys can definitely go ahead and just click on the file and it would just open it up in your browser without you having to have any internet access. So super useful. Excuse me. And the second option is sharing. So you guys can definitely, it's 21st century, nobody wants to download things and upload them in an email and send it to a colleague and they have to download the whole file again. So what I can do is to just go ahead and click on publish for web, and I can just go ahead and give that link. Visme will generate this link for you, and I can just give that link to anyone in the world from any computer anywhere in the world when they punch in that link in their browser, they can see a full interactive content. Also, they can go full screen here. They can share it on social. They can comment. So it's pretty awesome. Don't download, guys. Just go ahead and share it. It's super easy. You can also, in case you guys have some sort of confidential information, something you don't want to put on the internet, you can share it privately. And what that does, it adds an extra layer of security, so you can actually password protect your content. So I can just go ahead and 1 2 3 4, and then I can just go ahead and see, see ask for my password 1 2 3 4, and then so aside from giving that someone a link, you can also give them the password to be able to view your content. All right, so that's as far as sharing privately goes. And embedding is also very important. And in case you guys have some sort of content you want to put on your website, like the infographic I showed you at the beginning of the webinar, you can embed it on your website. And the reason why you do that is because, first off, it's fully responsive, so it works on all mobile devices, tablets, and laptops. Also, it's high quality. And more importantly is that it would preserve all of your interactivity, so all of your animation effects and all of your pop-up and rollover effects will all be preserved. All right, so that's as far as sharing goes. Now let's really quick go through a couple of quick things in terms of analytics in my brand area. So I kept mentioning, hey guys, I'm going to teach you how to use my brand. I'm going to teach you how to use my brand. Here's the time. So my brand area is basically where you'll be able to put in or set your brand guidelines and enforce it across your team. The way you can do so, super simple. Under typography, you can just go ahead and upload your own brand fonts. And more important is that you can restrict your team members' ability to use Visme default fonts, right? So if I turn these off, then my Visme team members cannot use any other Visme default fonts. They'll just be restricted to the fonts that I upload here. Same you can do with colors. So you can upload your own, or you could just add in your brand colors, right? Just punch in the code here. You can add your own theme colors, and you can definitely restrict your team members' ability, but turn these little buttons off and on. And templates, this is where you'll be able to set your presentation templates, infographic templates, so whatever you guys create in Visme, you can set it as a template for your other team members to use. And it will, so as people click on it, it will automatically create a copy, and they'll be able to jump in and kind of personalize it for their own purposes. You can restrict your team members' ability to create different content types. Logos, this is where you'd be uploading your brand logo. Will show up in the publishing page whenever you share your content online. If you guys see Visme branding anywhere, and if you guys are in a paid plan, you can go under logos here and turn this on, so it will hide the Visme header from your published pages. And brand links is excuse me, is where you'll be adding your own website, email address, and social media, and you can link stuff to them right inside the editor. Also, analytics part is very important. So you guys can see, as you click on analytics, you guys can see a quick preview of your entire content that's been published online. And you can kind of see a breakdown of those projects by clicking on them, right? So I can see, for instance, this project has this many views, has had this amount of time on average spent on it. And if I click on it, it actually would give me a little more granular data in terms of number of views, the time spent, etc. So the completion rate. So I can just go ahead and filter based on date. This is for that particular content only. And more important is that I can actually see what the average number of seconds is that people spend on individual slides. So I can see, like in slide number 10, it's only 2 seconds of people skipping through it, so that I can go in and make it better. And slide number 9 is doing great. So this is kind of a measure of performance. And you can also, on the viewers tab, see who viewed your content and what location they're from, what's the anonymous ID, what's the total time they spent on it. You can download all that data as a CSV file and basically upload in your Marketo, HubSpot, all the other marketing analytics tools. You can definitely just download as a CSV and upload it there. All right. So one quick thing I want to point out here was the question I kept getting. So how to create a presentation. So it's very simple. It's going to be 99.9% similar. So under presentations, the first thing you guys see is your brand templates, right? So this is now you can know how to add your own templates in my brand area. But here in Visme, we actually have a very unique process of creating pitch decks. So traditionally what you have to do, or you can still do it in Visme, is that you can go ahead and browse through our library of templates we have for presentations, which is going to be a little time consuming, I'm not going to lie, to actually go ahead and click on preview, see whether you like it or not. Sometimes you just need a couple of slides from here, maybe not a couple of slides from another template. So what I would recommend you guys to do is to just go ahead and use this process. Just go ahead and click on classic or modern, okay? And this way, let's actually go through an example. So the first person who puts in the chat box classic or modern gets to pick the rest of this webinar. All right, guys, classic or modern, which one shall I click on? All right, Emily is the winner. They both say modern. All right, let's go ahead and see how the modern looks like. So again, the templates are going to be different. The process is the same. Alrighty, so we're back in the editor. You guys know this space in and out right after the webinar, right? So now you know how to use the whole thing. Now there are only subtle differences here. So first thing is that you see that we have slides because it's a presentation. We don't have blocks. So I could just go ahead and actually delete that slide if I don't like it, right? So it just brings up one single slide. So to add a new slide, just go ahead and click on add slide. And similar to the concept of blocks that we had for infographics, now we have slides for presentations, right? So I can just go ahead, if I would like to create a presentation, I need a title page, obviously, so I can just go ahead and go perhaps through our title library, right? And then I might need an introduction, and I might need the timeline. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just mix and matching these templates to create my own customized general template, right? So I can just go ahead and just drag and drop whatever I need. So in less than a minute, I'm creating basically what I need to just go in and punch some numbers in maybe and customize some of the text, and it's good to go. So it makes it extremely fast to create a pitch deck. And last but not least, I'm gonna need a thank you slide. And so you guys saw, I have created this entire presentation in a matter of, I just basically dragged and dropped a bunch of templates in here. And I could just go and start personalizing similar to what you would do in infographics. So one quick little thing I want to point out here is that I can just go ahead and click on the little gear button, and then I can just go ahead and click on change transition. So we have very smart transition effects. Let's say like zoom in, that's actually one of my favorite ones, and you can apply it to all slides. And so it gives it a nice look and flow as you go through your presentation. Right? So this is how it would look like. Perfect. So awesome, guys. So this is all I got for you in terms of basic presentations, infographics, and Visme in general. As I said, these are all the basics. There's a lot of nitty-gritty stuff that you guys need to play around with till you understand. But you know what? It's honestly not going to take you guys more than a day to figure everything out in Visme. So it's designed to be very simple and intuitive to use. Now let's dig into some of you guys' questions. So Nokia is asking, if I want my students to use this tool for projects, do they need a license or just sign up? Well, Nokia, that's a great question, actually. So we do have, so our basic plan, Visme Basics, free forever, no credit card required. So you can definitely go ahead and have your students use a free plan if they want to, but if they need some more assets and need access to more templates, we have actually student plans, which are extremely discounted for education users. So you can definitely go ahead on our pricing page, visme.co/pricing, and take a look at our student accounts under education tab. Alrighty, Mario is asking, do you guys offer a trial period for premium plan? Great question, Mario. So actually, since our basic plan is free, so that would basically be a free trial forever, right? But if you guys are interested in upgrading to a premium plan, we're actually running a promotion for all of our webinar attendees. I'm glad you asked, actually. You guys can use the code webinar101, and that would give you guys 25% discount on your first payment on all non-education Visme paid plans. So webinar101, all capital letters, no space, and that will give you guys 25% off on your first payment. And especially if you guys are going to be on an annual plan, which already is 30% discounted, combined with this 25 is over half off, guys. So definitely go ahead and take advantage from that discount code webinar101. I'll put it in the chat box as well. All right. Well, I see Paymon has answered over 20 questions up here, so I really appreciate your help, Paymon. I don't see any other questions in the Q&A box. We have a 24/7 support team. So in case you guys come across any questions, you can either email me or contact our support team, support@visme.co. We'll be more happy to assist you guys. Alrighty. Well, it's been real. Thank you guys for attending Visme 101. We have this webinar every single week. Oh, sorry guys. We got a couple more questions. All right, Charles saying this was great. Thank you, Charles. Chad is asking, what's next on the timeline for Visme development? Anything to look forward to? Absolutely, Chad. I'm glad you asked. Actually, we have a major update, guys, and here's a little insider information I'm going to give you. And Paymon's probably going to fire me after this webinar, but we have a major update coming up. So keep an eye out. Definitely go ahead and sign up for our newsletter, or if you guys are on our free plan, you guys are automatically sign up for our newsletter. Definitely keep an eye out for an email from us. We are looking to launch a major update of Visme that is going to give you guys a ton more features, not only for design, but in terms of interactivity and animation. It's going to be huge. So definitely go ahead, and I kind of sound like Donald Trump here. Definitely go ahead and keep an eye out. All right, Arden's asking, I have no question, just wanted to say great job, you guys. All right, thank you, Arden. I really appreciate it. All right, well, thank you, guys. We're getting a lot of love here. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with me this whole time. I know I talk a lot, and it's kind of hard not to be a sole speaker during the webinar, so thank you, everybody, for bearing with me. Anytime you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. We have this webinar every single week, so feel free to pass the registration link to our colleagues. Hope you all enjoy Visme, everybody, and have a wonderful Thursday.